Hi guys! So today I will be reviewing The Shadow of the Wind. Now this was definitely like an adult literature book, and I've been reading YA lately, so it was definitely a jolt to my system, but I'm going to get right into it and you'll see how much I really adored it. So the premise of The Shadow of the Wind is that this young boy Daniel is taken by his father to the cemetery of forgotten books. It's where books go to be loved so that they don't, die out to existence. They're forgotten, right? So he goes into this cemetery of forgotten books and he finds this book that really connects with him and he reads it. And it basically changes his life. And what's cool is that he decides he wants to know more about this author, Julian Carax. And the more he searches, the more he realizes that the life of Julian Carax is this huge unsolved mystery, and he, in fact, might be having, like, the only copy of this book in existence because there's this mysterious, grotesque figure that lurks in the shadows and has been systematically burning all of the books by Carax for years. So he's kind of, like, on the tip of this adventure just as he's on, like, the cusp of his, like, manhood. So he unravels this mystery, or at least he sets out to, and do all this detective work as he's coming of age. So the more answers that he searches for about the life of Julian Carax, perhaps he learns more about himself and his life as they go on, which is great. Which also lends itself really nicely to the parallels in the novel. You have Daniel realizing these truths about Julian and the way Julian lived his life and how Julian was with the people around him, and he sees similarities between himself and Julian. So as he learns more about Julian, he's discovering more about himself, and the connection he feels with Julian, which he felt really strongly as a child, he feels even stronger about as he realizes how perhaps similar they could be. Also, let's talk about the female characters in The Shadow of the Wind. The female characters in this novel are kind of portrayed as, like, forces of nature. They're all exceptional women. You have Nuria, who's, like, the enigma, and Bia, who is so terrifying in that she could have this power to destroy you with her feminine wonderfulness. And then you have Clara, who's blind but can feel, and it's exceptional female characters. The females aren't ordinary in this novel. I just mentioned a few, but the others are also pretty extraordinary. It's definitely a Latin American novel. You have civil war and the corruption of power, especially at, like, the military government level, as a backdrop for Daniel unraveling the mystery of Julian Carax. So you have that kind of very dynamic backdrop, and perhaps some of the characters in the, lust for power that's happening at contemporary, like, Daniel time, how to play, and then mystery, and oh gosh, it's just getting so good. It's also a gorgeous book. The prose is gorgeous. I know it's a translation, but it was still just gorgeous. And the book has been called a love letter to readers, which is kind of meta, but essentially the message is that books have souls. And the quote is, it's from the book, "Books are mirrors, you only see in them what you already see, and what you already have inside you." So you have this idea of books as being powerful and revealing stuff about you, which is kind of metaphorical, but then on a literal level, books literally led Daniel to discover more about himself. Whoa! Don't you love how they did that? Okay, so just go out and read The Shadow of the Wind. I haven't spoiled anything really, which was miraculous, because the whole time I was reading it, I was like, what? So I want you to be just as surprised. Goodbye!